What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm here to do my post-game analysis video for the loss to the Buffalo Bills yesterday up in Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First off, before I do, I want to say, obviously, look, we're now 1-7. We lose to the now 5-2 Bills by a margin of 26-11. And just as a little overview, obviously, look, I predicted 42-21, so at least it wasn't a complete blowout. We did not cover the spread, though, because we were 14-point underdogs in this game, and they obviously won by 15 points, so we were unable to cover the spread. We did lose by 15 points, but it wasn't a complete blowout, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as we go through, but the Dolphins defense actually showed up for a good portion of the day. They didn't get stops when they needed to most, but they were one of the bright spots, let's say, for this game. And also real quick too, I'm going to be at the very end of the video, I'm going to start when I do my post-game analysis videos from now on, I'm going to start I'm going to show you guys the tankathon list, the draft order from now on, because at this point in the season, being 1-7, there really is no hope for the playoffs or anything like that. So we are definitely in evaluation mode as far as players, who's going to stay around for next year, et cetera, et cetera. And draft order. So I'm going to start including that into my videos, but let's go ahead and get into this. So obviously, again, like I said, we lost. We had 262 total yards, obviously not very good there. 351 to the Bills. We had 194 passing. They had 249. We only had 68 rushing yards. They had 102. We were only 4.1 yards per play to their 5.3. We lost one fumble and threw one interception and got no turnovers. We were only 28% on third down, so obviously not very good. And we gave up 46% to them. We had the ball for 29-13 to their 30-47, and each team had 9 penalties. And of course, again, though, and when it comes to the loss, well, actually, let me just real quick go to the quarterbacks, and then I'll say what I was about to say. So Tua went 21 for 39, 53.8% completion percentage, 205 yards, no touchdowns to 1 interception, and a 58.2. Josh Allen was 29 for 42, 69%, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 100.2 passer rating. So, look, at the end of the day, I mean, Josh Allen didn't play a super great game. I mean, same thing actually could be said for the Week 2 matchup, right? Josh Allen didn't play a particularly great game. This one actually was a bit better than our first matchup against him this year. But, the defense was able to keep us in this for most of the game. I mean, even at halftime, it was a 3-3. And you thought maybe we had a chance to potentially sneak away with this one, even though, if we're keeping it real with ourselves, it really didn't feel like it for most of the game, even though we did keep it close. And Tua, when it comes to Tua, he had, I agree, we talked about this a bit on Reason's channel yesterday in the post-game, panel or whatever, and I would agree that he was, he gets maybe about a C rating from me, or a C grade from me. He played okay. He didn't play particularly great, obviously, and he threw the interception. He just kind of played average. But at the same time, and if we're keeping it real, much like, the Dolphins defense was able to keep Josh Allen, in check for and that offense in check for, a portion of the game for the first half, and you gotta have that in context. Same thing goes for Tua and this Dolphins offense. Obviously, it's not very good to begin with, but he had a tough challenge. This entire offense had a tough challenge. I mean, it's the number 1 ranked defense in the league for a reason. And, they rank at the top of the league in damn near every category that exists. And so it's not, it was a big hill to have to climb, and I thought he did okay. He gets a C grade from me, not great, and obviously that interception tanks the grade a bit because it was late in the game and it was at a time that was really important, a crucial time when we could maybe, I think at the time we were down 9 points, so we would have had to go down and score something, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, and then go do it again. So, yeah, it was a tough order at that point anyway, but it was at a crucial point in the game, and it definitely sealed the loss for us because then they took the ball right back. I think it was 20-11 at that point. And then they managed to, score a touchdown to ice the game away. So, it is what it is, unfortunately, though. But and when it comes to the grand scheme of things, again, though, it was just deficiencies across the board. Defense couldn't get a stop when it mattered most. Even though they did better in this game and they played solid, particularly in the first half. Although in the second half, there were no adjustments made. The Bills made adjustments and then they started opening things up. Coaching is, again, terrible. Play calling, usage of timeouts and stuff is just absurd in this game as well. There were a couple times when Brian Flores used a timeout when the Bills were driving down the field, and the only thing it served in doing was, giving them a breather and allowing them to rethink what they want to do, make sure that they're set properly, etc., etc. So, just again, across the board, failures all around. And so it is what it is, bro. As much as I predicted this to happen this season, right? Because I've been one of the lone voices telling you guys that this season is not going to meet expectations, and what's going to come crumbling down. And I've been telling you guys for a while that this rebuild was going to come crashing down somewhere in year 3, blah blah blah. As much as I've predicted it and saw it coming, because of all of the reasons that people point to now, the deficiencies and issues that this team and organization has, it doesn't make it any better, and it still fucking hurts, and it sucks to have to watch my team go through this. But it is what it is at this point. And like I said, we are into evaluation mode. So let's just go ahead and get through the rest of this. Just so we can make sure to have things in full context and have all of the details, because that is always important. So Myles Gaskin led the way rushing, 12 rushes, 36 yards, and a 3 average. Salvon Ahmed threw in 7 for 22 and a 3-1. Tua threw in 4 rushes, 10 yards, did get a rushing touchdown and a 2.5 average. So that, that helps to improve his performance a little bit, right? Josh Allen led the way for them in rushing, 8 rushes, 55 yards, a touchdown, and a 6.9. Devin Singletary, 7 for 28 and a 4 average. Zach Moss, 8 for 19 and a 2.4. Devontae Parker did lead the way for us today, 8 for 11 and 85 yards. Mike Gesicki, 3 of 4 for 48. Devontae Parker might be getting traded, though, too. I actually think that is a very realistic possibility that the Dolphins end up trading him before tomorrow's deadline. And of course, also, there's going to be a lot of, it's going to be interesting to see if and what the Dolphins do at all before tomorrow's deadline. I know, obviously the time is super short at this point, but I still do think that there is a pretty high probability the Dolphins end up trading for Deshaun Watson. Of course, as you guys know, I hope not. I don't want that to happen for a number of reasons, but we will see. And hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully they don't. Hopefully the deadline comes and goes, and they do not bring Deshaun Watson in. But we will see, man. So, tomorrow is the deadline. Mike Gesicki was 3 of 4 for 48. Jalen Waddle, 4 of 12 for 29. Myles Gaskin, 3 of 4 for 19. Patrick Laird, 1 for 10 yards. Also, too, let me just note, before I forget, that obviously, we had 9 penalties. It was a very undisciplined game again. But it wasn't even just that. And we're seeing how this team is crumbling in all kinds of ways. Because we've been talking about it for a while. I do not believe that these players are bought in for the majority of them. And I think that's reflective in the product on the field in a lot of ways, and it's starting to it's getting worse and worse and worse as the season goes on, and as things fall apart more. These players are buying out, and they're not buying into the process and so on and so forth. And while we have been a very undisciplined team this entire season, it's really starting to get to a fever pitch in that regard, because in this game in particular, we started to see some issues that we really hadn't seen quite yet to this point. Now, there have been some moments where there have been, some confusion with, lining up, or, just confusion when it comes to communication. Those things have existed, but the way that it manifested in this game, to the point where, you saw Gesicki out on the field sitting there trying to help get guys lined up. People are just confused. Things are going all, and that's how obviously the fumble that we had occurred, because Gesicki was trying to get people lined up. He was, yelling at Waddle to come over to the right side of the formation. He then does, because he was supposed to then, my guess is I don't know, because I don't know what the play call was, but my guess is Waddle was supposed to be on the right, and then Gesicki was supposed to motion over to the left. And so as Gesicki does his motion, that's when Robert Hunt, for some strange fucking reason, decides to tell the center, Austin Ryder, with his little, tap, the little tap that he does or whatever, the little hand motion or tap, to snap the ball. It wasn't called for by Tua, and as he snaps the ball, it hits fucking, Gesicki in the chest, ends up as a fumble, blah, 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 blah. So it's just a giant mess, and it's getting worse and worse because these players are not buying in. They're not, giving it full effort. They're not, and I think that now, I mean, look, to this point though, it does, and that's the thing though, is up to this point, and even, to a degree in this game, it does still seem like the players are, putting in effort. But with the confusion and the mistakes and the miscues piling up and getting worse, it just feels like, these players are just, buying out almost completely. And so we'll see. And just one more quick thing, too, before I finish the rest of this. If we get to the Texans game next week, and if we lose to the Texans, I am going to predict a victory against the Texans. It's been a win on my schedule the entire year. And so I am going to predict a Dolphins victory. But if we lose to the Texans on Sunday, that's going to be the last time that I give them the benefit of the doubt with the way that this team is. And they're going to have to earn win predictions from me for the rest of the season, because it's just absolutely dismal. So anyway, continuing on, Waddle was 4 of 12 for 29. Gaskin 3 of 4 for 19. Patrick Laird 1 for 10. Cole Beasley led the way for them, and he really started to fucking light us up in the second half. Nick Needham in particular, and then Justin Coleman when Needham got benched. And it's funny because, Nick Needham actually was led the way on our defense when it came to like tackles and stuff like that, but he got completely torched when it came to, particularly in the second half, when Cole Beasley started lighting him up. But he was 10 for 13, 110 yards. Stephon Diggs, 5 of 7, 40 and a touchdown. Zach Moss, 6 of 7 for 39. Tommy Sweeney, 3 of 4 for 30. And Gabriel Davis, 4 of 5 for 29 and a touchdown. Defensively, Nick Needham led the way. As I mentioned, 6 solo tackles, 2 assisted. Christian Wilkins, 4 solo, 2 assisted, 2 tackles for loss and a pass defensed. Byron Jones, 4 solo, 2 assisted and a pass defensed. Javon Holland, 4 solo, 1 assisted. Brandon Jones, 4 solo tackles and a tackle for loss. Duke Riley, 3 solo, 2 assisted. Landon Roberts, 2 solo, 2 assisted and a forced fumble. Obviously, we didn't end up retrieving that fumble, but good on him for at least forcing it, I guess. Zach Sealer, 2 solo, 1 assisted on a tackle for loss. Brennan Scarlett, 2 solo, 1 assisted, a tackle for loss. Xavier Howard, 1 solo, 1 assisted, and a pass defensed. And Emmanuel Ogbah threw in 2 passes defensed. Total, we did a bit better this week than last week with 43 total tackles and 21 assisted. 5 tackles for loss, no sacks, unfortunately. The 1 forced fumble and 5 passes defensed. Like I said, and at the end of the day, the defense was, for the most part, what kept us in this game. So, you know, Jordan Poyer led the way for them. 9 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss. The interception for 26 yards. Oop, I'm sorry, I forgot to, let me get that out of there. That was from the previous week. Anyway, so, and then the 1 pass defense. Matt Milano had 6 solo tackles and a tackle for loss. Levi Wallace, 5 solo tackles with a pass defense. Teron Johnson, 5 solo tackles. Tremaine Edmonds, 4 solo, 4 assisted. Micah Hyde, 3 solo, 1 assisted, and a fumble recovery. Mario Addison, 2 solo, 1 assisted, 1 sack, and a tackle for loss. Let's see. And then Tre'Davious White, 2 solo tackles with 2 passes defensed. Ed Oliver, 1 solo, 1 assisted, 1 tackle for loss. No, he did not have an interception, excuse me, or a pass defense. That's my bad. I forgot to take those out. And then Jerry Hughes was 1 solo tackle. He got the forced fumble. And there you have it. And then total, they had 40 total tackles, 13 assisted, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, the 1 interception for 26 yards, and 4 passes defensed. Okay, so, and then let's just, to wrap this up, in the kicking game, Jason Sanders was 1 for 2 on his field goals along a 51. Obviously, he had the missed field goal. And again, that's another example of 2 things, actually, because we've seen a ton of regression on this team, even with the top players on the team, you know, like Xavier Howard, like Jason Sanders, etc. But also, I think it's a mix of regression and the fact that these guys are not really buying into the process anymore. I think that has part, the not buying in is part of the regression, not just the coaching and so on and so forth. But it's just a toxic mix of a whole bunch of shit, and it's not, unfortunately, I don't see it getting any better. Anyway, Tyler Bass was 2 of 2 on his field goals with a long of 57 and 2 of 2 on his extra points. That last touchdown that they got to go up 26-11, they tried a 2-point conversion and they failed on it. So but anyway, Michael Pilardi had 5 punts, 51.8 average with a long of 59. Matt Hawk had 4 for 40.8 average, 1 inside the 20 and a long of 55. Waddle was on kickoff returns, had 2 for 12.5 average with a long of 18. Isaiah McKenzie had 2, 18.5 average with a long of 19. Holland was again on punts, 3 with a 4 average and a long of 8. Isaiah McKenzie had 2, 12.5 average with a long of 16. And so let's go through these league standings and how they changed. This is obviously through all of the games through week 8 that were played through Sunday. I actually do plan to watch the KC Giants game tonight, which is actually going to start in about like 10-ish minutes as of me making this video. And then I'll probably be doing a quick hit scouting report video later for that game. I'm going to watch it just kind of for fun, and also because we play the Giants still. So I'll do my quick hit scouting report video for the Giants after that. These league standings are probably actually going to, even change up a little bit, though, after that game gets played and they get updated, just so you know. But this is everything through week 8 through yesterday's games. So as it stands right now, we have 2,415 total yards on the season offensively. That drops us from 24th to 26th. We did go down though in yards per game, obviously marginally, 307.6 to 301.9, but that does drop us from 28th to 30th. Total passing, we have 1,923, which keeps us at 20th overall in the league. There was no change there. We did have a marginal decrease in passing yards. Obviously, that's not good, right, on offense. From 245, it's marginal. It's a small amount, but obviously not good. From 245.4 to 240.4 is a 5-yard difference. That drops us from 21st in the league down to 25th. Total rushing, we have 629. There is a marginal increase there, although if I'm being honest, this is probably one of the stats that's going to end up dropping when everything evens out. But we do move up from 29th to 27th for now. Rushing, we unfortunately dropped, in per game average, we unfortunately dropped from 80.1 down to 78.6. That does have us have a slight marginal increase in positioning, though, from 31st to 30th. Obviously, still at the bottom of the league and not near good enough. Total points, we have 138 on the season, which has a marginal increase from 27th up to 26th. And points per game, oh, I'm sorry, that is supposed to be a downwards red arrow because we dropped from 18.1 points per game down to 17.3. That did take us, though, a slight increase from 29th up to 28th or 27th with ties included. Okay, defensively, we did have a marginal decrease in overall yards per game from 414.9 down to 406.9, but that leaves us dead last in the league. There was no change there, 32nd to 32nd. Passing yards, slight decrease from 311.6 to 303.8, but that keeps us at 31st in the league. Slight decrease in rushing yards from 117.7 to 115.8, but that keeps us at 19th in the league. Points per game, we did have a tiny drop from 29.6 to 29.1, 0.4 difference, and that has actually a slight increase in positioning, 31st up to 29th, obviously still not anywhere good enough, and that's 24th with ties. Takeaways, we didn't have any turnovers in this game, so we remain at 9 takeaways on the season, which drops us from 11th down to 14th or 6th with ties. We remain at 3 interceptions. That keeps us at 27th overall, but 8th with ties included. We remain at 6 fumbles on the season, and that is good enough, though, to keep us at 4th in the league. Let's see, sacks. We didn't get any sacks in this game, so we remain at 12. That drops us from 26th down to 29th, 12th with ties. We are good with our passes defense, though, and of course that is, Xavier Howard and Byron Jones primarily, but we do go from 35 to 40, which takes us from 3rd up 1 spot to 2nd with ties. And third downs, we did have a slight increase I guess technically decrease. Actually, hang on, that's not the right arrow either. Sorry that I'm fixing this, but we did have a slight decrease. Where is it? Oh, I don't have it here. Anyway, that is supposed to be a downwards green arrow from 51.6 to 50.9, but that does leave us at 31st in the league overall. Key points in analysis, did we win? Unfortunately, no. And a quick drive-by-drive, drive-by-drive walkthrough, whatever. Bills do receive the ball to start the game. They do go 3 and out on their first drive. That was not a drive that the defense stopped them. That was just Josh Allen ends up rolling out to his right, and he actually had a wide open wide receiver that would have picked up the first down and then a bunch more, but Josh Allen just missed him. The rest of the game, though, the defense did pretty much do their part. That first drive was more on them than anything, and they did shoot themselves in the foot a bit throughout the game with penalties or whatever, but yeah, so we did get a stop, though, on 3 and out, or on their first drive, forcing them 3 and out. The Dolphins then, though, missed a field goal after 12 plays on their first drive. Bills then answer with a field goal of their own, not missing it, of course, though, after 7 plays. That puts it to 0-3, Bills lead. Dolphins then have to punt after 8 plays of their own, and that takes us to the second quarter. Bills have to punt after 4 plays. Dolphins then kick a field goal after 7, making it 3-3. Bills then have to punt after 4. Dolphins punt after 8. Bills turnover on downs after 7. Dolphins then have their fumble after 5 plays, and the Bills end the half after 1. Then we go to the third quarter. Dolphins do receive the ball. They go 3 and out on their first drive. Then we force the Bills to go 3 and out. Dolphins then go 3 and out. Then the Bills get a touchdown after 13 plays, making it 3-10. And, going into the half, man, you thought maybe we had a chance with it being 3-3. And then it didn't take very long, about midway through the third quarter before they started to open it up. Dolphins then go 3 and out. Bills have a touchdown after 9 plays, making it 3-17. Moving into the fourth quarter, Dolphins finally get a touchdown after 11 plays, making it 11-17 because we obviously went for the 2-point conversion. We got it. That ended the Dolphins scoring, unfortunately, because then the Bills then get the ball. They go 14 plays and score a field goal, making it 11-20. Dolphins then end up throwing their interception after 4 plays. Tua threw the interception there, obviously. And look, just real quick, I do want to say, too, about that because I didn't say it. To me, again, it was another situation. Now, it was a bad mistake, costly mistake. He gets blamed for it, etc. I'm not trying to take away from that. But added context, it was another one of those situations where he ended up forcing the ball. It was like 3rd and 22. We were deep in our own territory. Obviously, we were down by 9 points. And, you know, people want to give him shit. Like, it's a no-win situation for him because people want to give him shit for not pushing the ball downfield, not being aggressive enough, not trying to elevate the team and put it on his shoulders. But then when he does it and he makes a mistake and it costs the team, yes, he should get blamed for that. But it should be at least, at the very least, put into the context of the situation and that it was, you know, him trying to do that, push the ball downfield and you know, get us into a position where we could potentially, you know, keep the drive alive, maybe go down, score some points, and then give ourselves a chance. So, unfortunately, it's just a no-win situation in this. So, but then Bills then get, after the interception, they have a short field, takes them 3 plays, they get a touchdown. That was Josh Allen's rushing touchdown, making it 11-26. They go for the 2-point, and they fail, so that remains the score. Dolphins then end the game after 2 plays. Fortunately, there were really no injuries in this game for us, so there's really no injury watch, and that is going to be how I end my post-game analysis for the Buffalo Bills versus Miami Dolphins in Orchard Park. And again, so, I'm sorry, actually, before I get to that, let me go ahead and just do a quick look here at the Tankathon. So as it stands with that Dolphins loss, we are currently obviously 1-7 on the season, and our pick is number 3, but obviously that goes to Philly. As of right now, because the San Francisco 49ers did win yesterday, making them 3-4 on the season, that puts our pick at number 13 as it stands right now. So obviously, you know, the Dolphins thought they were going to be a lot better than this year than they are, and so they thought that their pick was going to be lower than what it is, but obviously that just, it seems to be another way in which this Dolphins team is proving that they, this organization is proving that they have no idea what the fuck they're doing, and it's a mess. Anyway, so just wanted to show you that as well, obviously, because that's one of the only things that we're really going to be focusing on for the rest of the season. And look, man, there is some chance, especially if we do end up losing to the Texans next week, there really is some chance that we end up with the first overall pick. But either way, it's looking pretty good that it's probably going to be a top 5 pick almost no matter what at this point. Because honestly, if I'm keeping it completely real, I still see us losing to Baltimore, Tennessee, and let's see, Baltimore, Tennessee, and New Orleans. I still think those are going to be losses on the schedule. And if they are, that puts us at 10 losses. That means at best we could be 7-10. But I'm not even so sure that we even win that many games at this point. And if that's the case, then we could end up with at least a top 5 pick, if not the first overall pick. And that would be in the case if we went like, 1-16 or 2-15 on the season, we would probably end up having the first overall pick. But anyway, obviously that's going to be something that's going to develop over the rest of the season and something we'll keep an eye on, along with, who do we think is going to be here for next year, et cetera, et cetera. So it is what it is, Dolphins fans, but, we're going to keep moving and pushing together and try and get through this mess and madness. And, hopefully things will eventually turn around. you know, I know there's a lot of talk about people wanting Flores and Greer out of here, and I get that. Look, I never wanted them to begin with. I've been consistent about that, and I told you guys these dudes are not going to get it right. They don't have the right core fundamental philosophies. They're bad at drafting and development, all this stuff. Flo has been creating a toxic environment. And so, you know, I've been telling you guys I never wanted him. I've been predicting that this stuff was going to come crashing down in year 3, and I've also been predicting that the both of them were going to get fired in the offseason after this year. Now, a lot of that has come true, except for the last part about them getting fired, because we haven't gotten to the offseason yet. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But as much as I do feel like we need to, you know, these guys are not going to be the right guys, and they're not going to be the answer. And we do need to, you know, get people who are going to do things properly. I'm not excited about the fact that if that happens, then we're going to be hitting the reset button again after another 3 years and after this whole tanking thing. And it will have caused the tank to fail because, you know, if you don't turn things around in 2 to 3 years, which if we hit the reset button again, we'll guarantee that we don't, then the tank has failed, because a tank means that you turn it around very quickly. And so I'm not going to be excited about it. And of course also, I'm not going to be excited about having to reset again. Hopefully there can be some excitement though for who Ross hires next, because that's then going to be the next thing I look at, because I'm not really convinced that as long as Stephen Ross owns the team, that he's going to be able to make the right decisions when it comes to hiring the right people. But, you know, unfortunately, there's really not much we can do about that, and especially considering the fact that, you know, even if Ross does sell the team, it's going to be to, you know, Beal, the guy that he knows that works for him, that's one of the CEOs for one of Ross's companies or whatever. So, you know, we'll see, man. We'll see how things go, but we're going to stick together. We're going to go through this together, and we're going to find a way to, you know, just keep pushing, man. Just keep pushing, because for us diehard fans that bleed aqua and orange, you know, we can't, no matter how bad things get, we can't abandon our team. And so we at least got to keep together as a family, as a Phins family, and push through this. All right, with that, I'm going to get out of here. Make sure, real quick, before you do, you check out the Rave On Sports App. New fan-driven sports app that is looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play, live chats with other fans and content creators. Check for the description box for the links for those. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.